This racetrack is so well known, it overshadows the city it's named after. This racetrack is so well known, those who win at the venue kiss the bricks in celebration and tradition. This racetrack is so well known, if you merely say the number 500, most racing fans will immediately respond with one word: Indy.
So what brings me to one of the most historic racetracks in the world? Well, I'm covering a bit of a showdown. To understand the origins of the Viper Showdown, we have to cast our minds back to 2021.
Last year, I attended my very first big Dodge Viper event, known as the Viper Days Reunion. It was an unexpected yet grand return for a name not seen in Viper circles for many moons. Billed as, you guessed it, a feel-good reunion yet also a proper racing event, it quickly captured the attention of many in Viper Nation. Held at the magnificent Road America racetrack in Wisconsin, it instantly became the highlight of the year for many Viper faithfuls. Despite only returning for that year so far, the need for such an event was undeniable.
So much so, in fact, those who attended and those who wished they did demanded an encore performance. Mirroring the history of the original Viper Days, the Viper Racing League was resurrected soon thereafter to give the slithery masses what they wanted. Mentioned in my Viper Rendezvous video, the VRL was brought back to life for 2022 with a full-blown racing calendar and schedule, ultimately ending in a championship race at the illustrious Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which plainly I'm at. So with all the history and context laid bare, let's do what I always do at a time like this. Check out the Vipers. Right, so here I have Robert Strickland, who has two comp coupes, and you can never have too many Vipers, but trying to split your time between one car and another car is kind of a challenge. So what was the idea behind getting this comp coupe in addition to your other one?
Well, the idea was that I'd have a backup car in case I lost power in one of my cars and had a transmission problem.
Right.
And I always wanted to have a backup car. They also have different horsepower. One is a 9-liter, pushing upwards of 850 to 900 horsepower. And this car has a 8.4 with heads and cam, pushing 780 horsepower. There are two different weapons for two different types of tracks. If I'm at a VIR or a larger track with more straightaway speed, I'll pull the red and white car out. And if I need less horsepower and more touring ability, I'll use this car.
Right. Yeah, because you were telling me the other day, actually before really any of the recording started, that you had changed the spring rates on this, and so that still has made this a slightly better handling car or handling comp coupe than your other one?
So this car has the freeway adjustable motons on it, and the spring rates that are on this car are less than what are on my red and white car. The red and white car, which is the 113 car, has Öhlins, and it has a heavier spring package. After driving this car, I've taken spring rate out of the other car, made it a better handling car as I'm learning to drive the vehicles.
Okay, so this car helped improve the other comp coupe. And so speaking about this one exclusively, obviously you can't look or talk about this comp coupe without talking about the wrap. So tell me a bit more about that.
So the wrap was kind of a mistake. We were at the Rolex race with the guys. We had a bunch of vinyl material. We were trying to make this car look like it had snakeskin on it. And when we picked it out, it ended up being lace. Looks like black lace. So, being guys, we decided to name it Lacey, the car Lacey.
Yep, hence the name Lacey. And it looks amazing. It's almost got this militaristic look to it with it. Yep, camouflage. Yep, it looks a lot like that. This would be pretty wild looking if it was white and it had camo. That would stand out incredibly. But I like the dark, sinister look of the matte lace. Well, thank you very much for telling me about your car. Actually, quick question: of the two, which do you like more? I know it's like trying to split your love between two children, but
I always got to go with the bigger horsepower. So the 113 car, which was the chassis 102, which is the Kuna Whitmer car that he raced and set the track record out in California with. That car's got more of a heritage to it as well, so that's my favorite car.
Thank you. And for the second Viper event, not quite in a row, but for the second Viper event, I have Sean Romick here with me. How are you, sir?
Doing really well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great myself. So last time we were here, last time I was talking to Sean, I was talking to him about the prototype comp coupe, right? Does that? Okay, P4, prototype 4. This time around, I got him with his own Viper. And tell me about this deep red.
Well, it's Venom Red, and as far as I understand, it was one of the most popular colors for 2008 coupes. But for some reason, they only did 7 ACRs. I don't know why. If that's how they were ordered. Bill Pemberton could probably tell you more. He was one of the top Viper salesmen at Woodhouse, and this was his personal car.
Right.
So just by happenstance, I was looking for one, and he had the right one for me, and he was involved in the history of getting all these together, including it's a hardcore edition car, which if you ask Bill, I think he was the big impetus that helped Chrysler make that package.
Really?
So it's pretty neat. As far as he knows, it's the only hardcore of the 7 Venom Red ACRs.
That's really, really cool. I didn't know that because I've read online and I've heard about the hardcore package. I didn't know he was kind of the figurehead for getting that towards Chrysler. That is amazing. So we were talking last night, and you were telling me about how much of a difference the simulator work has made. Where are some of the biggest areas that you're gaining on other guys because you've done simulator work on iRacing?
I would say the S is in the back, because it seems to me like you need to get the last corner right, the first 2 have to be done a certain way. And if you've never seen them until you got here this weekend, even virtually, it's probably quite a learning curve. So I noticed that a lot of guys, they hit the first 2 corners, and by the time they hit the third, they're a car length and a half off the apex. And it's not because they're bad, they're just learning. And being able to see that ahead of time definitely helped. So you can gain a lot of time there that people are still trying to figure out. And I think when you exit that corner and head out of the banking, same thing. The track's so wide, you're like, where do I go? Well, trying to experiment with different lines and how to set up the next braking zone definitely saved me time in practice that otherwise I would have had to experiment. So it really pays off, actually. Even if you're just playing around in your house, you can learn some stuff. If it's a good scan and has good references, it helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps a ton. It's helped me even with conversing with other people, because now I know, there's certain bumps like at the end of turn, at the last turn, and a few other areas, especially like, what is it, turn 3, that kind of double long right-hander?
It's kind of like a double apex. That's another one where, you think you want to stay wide and cut over, and for me, I'm almost like braking this way, but I'm looking over here and trying to get in earlier, because it seemed like on the sim anyway, the tighter a line you hugged and the sooner you got on the power, the more speed you had at the next straightaway, at the end of the next one. So it wasn't intuitive, but playing around for just half an hour, you could figure out this seems to work better. And so far in real life, it has.
That's fantastic. So one of the things you told me, because I had asked the question, one of the things you told me at Road America was that you were learning to trust the aero of the comp coupe and the grip. Is that still the case here? Because the ACR is not lacking for downforce, plainly.
It's not, but it's lacking for a roll cage, and concrete doesn't care what you're driving, it doesn't really move. So I have gotten a little more confident, especially coming onto the front stretch. You're at the top of 3rd gear, shifting into 4th, and you're definitely relying on the aero. And I've slowly been able to trust it a little more, but at the end of the day, in a true street car with a license plate and no cage, I don't ever feel that I'll be able to confidently do what this car could truly do. Not with me behind the wheel. There's always a safety margin I'm trying to maintain, even though I'm still trying to learn the aero. And it's incredible for a 14-year-old car how effective the aero was at that time and still today. They were really ahead of the game back then.
They really were, because back in 2008, 2009, 2010, it was over 1,000 pounds of downforce at 150 miles per hour.
And that setting right there, which is hold position 2, they provide a curve with the car and you can follow it. It's like you said, 1,000 at 150. And then as you move the wing around, it actually just kind of shifts the balance. You will get a higher magnitude of downforce, but I believe you get increased drag as well.
Right.
So I'm fine leaving it right in that position. It's kind of the best trade-off based on the curve they gave us, and it works really well.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Much like Cable's car last year, this is the Viper I was most excited to see at the Showdown. Now let me level with you guys. I actually don't know that much about this car, so my reason for being excited to see it is not because it's some million horsepower, high revving, naturally aspirated, hella lightweight car like Cable's is. No, the reason why I was so excited to see it was more for reasons of nostalgia. See, back when I was more of a youngin' and the Gen 5 ACR came out, among the various expected color schemes that the press photo showcased for the car, this paint scheme was posted by one of the Dodge SRT designers, Mark Trossel. This very paint scheme, and the moment I saw that Instagram photo, I knew I had to have, I would forever want a Viper in this paint scheme. And so it really is a thing of nostalgia for me, because that was 2016, that was over 5 years ago, and here I am now doing this video, doing all these scenes, and finally seeing this car in the flesh. And that's why I was most excited to see it, because I've always wanted to see, especially a Gen 5, a dark blue Gen 5. I've seen one, and unfortunately I didn't get that many photos of it, although I have to say, it's right over there, so I'll probably get some photos of that too. It was a very similar dark blue, but with black stripes. But in any case, so to see a car, to see a Viper that sticks out in my memory so vividly like this one, is such a treat. I'm so happy that I've got so many action shots of it on the track, and unfortunately I need to get more photos of it here while it's static, but I've got a good few and they're pretty good. But I'm happy to have any photos of it, really, because every time I see someone see one of these, see a Gen 5 ACR in this paint scheme, jealous, just like, I wish I was there, I wish you could see it, I wish I'd finally get the chance to see such a special paint scheme, and I finally have, and I'm elated. Of course, you didn't click on this video just to see some Vipers sitting static at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Oh, no. You clicked on this video to watch them tear up this legendary racetrack. Well, sit back, grab some popcorn, and revel in this V10 goodness.
Again, go back to number 71. Only 7 ACRs. The hardcore. He's only 20. I think he's 20. John Hayes. He's got a 2.
It's a blue flag.
Oh, it's a job. Oh, he didn't put well-known racers like the Archer brothers given it at some point, as long as their younger brother John. Yeah, we had General Bunning and Ralph Shields, best designers, if not the preeminent designers. Business magazines, not just the car magazines. Design. Also, I think Jeff Courtney ran there a little bit. Trying to think of a few. Bush. With a bunch of other guys, they've had some. Also have a time trial group coming up in just a little bit, but right now these are the racers. Most of the guys out there are fishing coops. It ran in World Challenge 2004. Actually, very well-known, respected gentleman came out of. WCA Challenge titles. She has run a World Challenge. She's also currently has been running some in Trans Am. But right now, it looks like Mike Gertz has taken up the last spot.
Stepping away from the Viper slightly, let's take a minute to talk about this wonderful racetrack. I'm gonna have to be a little bit quiet because I'm not in this room alone, but I am in a room. It should be a bit quieter, especially with the glass and some level of insulation, but the track is incredible. It's amazing. The height of the stands, it's like a baseball stadium. It really is. It's huge. And with RA, like with Road America, the sound echoes off the trees, and it's big. Here, it echoes off the walls because it's a bit of a banked oval, and you have all these concrete walls, sort of lining the track, at least lining the oval part of it. Not really the infield, but still, it's ridiculous. The infield is huge too. I have the foot pain to say that this track is absolutely massive. And keep in mind, I've only been on a small part of it. Really, I haven't even gone down to I think turn 12 and 13. I haven't made it over there yet. I've been turn 1, 2. I've been on the straight after the chicane 5 and 6. Haven't made it to turn 7 yet, and then of course I've made it to the Brickyard straight. So like I said, I've been around, and I still haven't seen everywhere. I've said to a handful of people that this is one of those places that has a mythical status for me because you hear it, but you never go, you haven't gone, you haven't seen it for yourself, and to actually be here and feel the love, the addiction to motorsport is wonderful. It's great. It's amazing to be in a place like this with other motorsport enthusiasts, with other people that like to see cars driven truly, properly, aggressively driven. I still can't believe I'm here, and this is the second day. Tomorrow's the last day, Sunday. I still can't believe I'm here, and I've been here for a good few hours now, and it's amazing. If you're a road course guy, I can't say the infield is going to impress you compared to a track like Laguna, even Road America, Watkins Glen, Mid Ohio, any track like that. I can't really say it's going to impress on that front, but what astounds again is the scale. They're not, for the event I'm at, the Showdown, they're not running the oval. Even SRO, the second event here, they're not running the oval either. And the track is still big, and the oval, the oval's this big circumference. I haven't even seen the whole oval. We're running a sort of abridged version of the track. To imagine what trying to view the whole oval would be like. You don't have to like this track. You don't. Plain and simple, oval or a road course, but I think you should at least come. You should at least see what it's like for yourself. I think it's one of those that you don't have to like. You don't have to do anything of the sort. But however, if there was one thing you do have to do, you have to at least visit for yourself at least once. Just so you know what it's like, just so you can see it with your own two eyes. The Pagoda Tower, the F1 style garages that are that way, that are that way from where I'm sitting, or even to some extent, well, not exactly under me, but down and that way. To see the wonder that is Indy, I think is something everyone should do. You don't have to love the wonder that is Indy, but you have to at least see it. What fascinates me is when I come to tracks like this that are so massive, they affect the world around it. Like, if I go to my local racetrack, High Plains, there's a little town, something like 30 minutes away from the track, and it's called Byers, and there's no racing shop or a racing motel. There's a motel, but it's not racing themed. There's not really any racing themed things there. So when I come to places like this, or come to places like RA, where the town nearby, Elkhart Lake, and see all the theme, the racing theme, the love for motorsport that the town outside the track, that the world immediately outside the track takes on. It's lovely and bewildering at exactly the same time. It's hard to put into words. It really is, because I've never seen anything like that, where the immediate town right outside the track takes it under its wing and celebrates the track and celebrates, and just merely celebrates it as as like a landmark to be proud of the town. It's like, I live in Speedway, and we have Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's that pride they take in having a track nearby that I've never seen. I'm not saying people in Byers don't take pride in it. It's just that, again, their businesses aren't centered around that. They don't infuse the track into their business. And here they do, at RA they do, and that's amazing. Really, really amazing. So, 9 out of 10, come to Indianapolis. Bring Dr. Scholl's, maybe. Bring something to help you not walk quite so much, or take frequent breaks, because that'll save you too. Sit down a lot with your feet off the pavement. Getting back on topic, here's a little Viper Indy factoid for you. The last time the car was featured here prominently, it was the pace car for the 1996 Indianapolis 500, sporting this exact same blue with dual white racing stripe paint scheme that made early Gen 2s so iconic. And to my knowledge, it was the second and final time the car was the highlight of the venue. Well, until now, of course. Now this was the, street Viper I was most surprised to see. I've seen a lot of Vipers online, okay? Let's be fair about that. I've seen a lot of Vipers online. However, the one that seemed the most elusive, the one I knew the least about, was this one. And as it turns out, Diane Raw, a name you might know, actually owns this Viper here. This is a unique take on the Oreca livery, or Oreca. Someone's gonna kill me for pronouncing it wrong, but it is what it is. But again, it's a unique take on that livery, and I'll keep saying it over and over and over again, but I'll keep saying it until it stops being true. I've always wanted to see this Viper. It's extremely rare. Another thing that makes it that much rarer is that it's a TA 2.0. Actually, hold on. Is it a TA 2.0? Because it's got a very similar aero package to a TA 2.0. I mean, look at the Fang splitter here. But the one thing that tips me off to it potentially being different, to it potentially being a bit unique to a proper real TA 2.0 is the wing. Wing stands up, spoiler is flush to the body. But this wing here is not a proper TA 2.0 design. It's cut in the middle, it's dipped, it's a very interesting design, and even the stanchions here aren't quite the way I think they are from the factory. So it's meant to look like a TA 2.0. It's meant to emulate a TA 2.0, and it absolutely does. I mean, hell, it fooled me for 2 days, 3 days. But it isn't actually, although, again, it is extremely close. I mean, hell, look at the Sidewinder 2s. Look at the Sidewinder 2s. A wheel that comes on, say it with me, TA 2.0s. So that just adds another bit of intrigue to the car. So not only does it have an extremely unique livery, an extremely unique take on a iconic Viper racing livery, iconic Gen 2 Viper racing livery, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's not exactly a TA 2.0. The most obvious bit being the wing. That's fascinating. I didn't know that until just now, until just recording this. That's so cool. But obviously, all that aside, this looks stunning and has to turn heads and nearly cause accidents everywhere it goes.
There was even more Viper shenanigans beyond the racing surface though. As per usual, there was a banquet for when the track drew quiet, but the night remained young. Food, stories, laughter, and an auction where the proceeds went to a charity cap off the night in satisfying fashion. However, it is bittersweet, as it also marks the halfway point of the event, where everything slowly winds its way to its eventual closure.
And that is where I find myself now. The only people left running on the track are those in the HPDE brackets, while everyone else have begun, or already began, packing up their New Age dragons for the next assault on tarmac. Saying goodbye, or indeed see you later, is never an easy part of trips like this, and having to walk away from all these Vipers is equally so. However, which would you rather? Having to tear yourself away from an experience like this, or never having experienced it in the first place? I know which one I'd rather. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Viper Showdown at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. If you did, then please like, comment, share, and consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Please make sure you hit the little notification bell and then all notifications, that way you're notified every time I upload. I will see you all next time, hopefully at the next Viper Racing League event.